And let's just generally talk about what we're taking a look at here. Okay, so I'm going to do a file new. Make sure we're starting from scratch. Got a cube here. And the idea is I want to unwrap this. So I'll grab this corner up here, drag it over. This window I can choose UV image editor. Like that. Now over in this one, I'm going to go in my edit mode. And I have everything selected. And if I do U for UV mapping, there's unwrap, smart UV project, lots of different options here. If I do smart UV project, I'm trying to think. I think this one. Let me put 0.5 there. Click OK. Then what it does is unwraps each one of the faces. Now the idea behind it then is over here in edit mode, if I choose the face select, this option right down here, then I can right click on one face and I can work with that one face. Choose.
Multiply them or make more faces.
Didn't make more faces, but I cut this up like this. See, if I select all of them, it's got the original 6 faces the cube had. Now the idea is this to be something useful. Like if I go back here to object mode and I cut this, if I drop the monkey on here, I do Shift A or S, I don't remember which, Shift A, and I choose Mesh Monkey. Now if I go into edit mode, all of it's selected. If I do U and choose Smart UV Project, and the 0.5 I guess is okay, and click OK. Here it didn't put each individual face separate. It tried to guesstimate what was the best way to cut it. Is that even something you can work with? No. So it takes a talent to know where to cut it at. So I'm going to delete that. I go to object mode and delete. If I choose mesh and choose cube, now if I go into edit mode, and instead of the face, I choose the edge select, then you can hold down your shift key and you can select different edges. So I select these 3 here, but I didn't select the back one. And I selected these 3 down here, but I didn't select the back one. Now I'm going to keep holding my shift key down and let's choose this one right here. And I think that would give it to me. But I do have to mark them. If I do mesh, edges, and then I say mark seam. This is where you want to do your cuts at. So if I choose mark seam, now if I do U and I just simply do unwrap. Well, thought I did that. Let me try it again. Yours didn't unwrap, did it?
No.
Yeah, one more time. Okay, those are the red marks where I've marked my seams. Maybe I chose the wrong one. There it goes. I had to change it to face select and select everything. And see how the cuts I made? It's now giving me something I can work with. So this is where you intelligently split it apart. Now I'm going to go back in Object, delete this. I'm going to drop Suzanne back on there. And I watched a video on this about a week ago, but I forgot exactly where the cut should be. But if I do the edge select, go into Edit, do edge select, I think it was like a cut here, cut, cut. Cut here. And then it was to cut the head in half. So I'm just choosing these seams. I've got my shift key held down. I'm not sure if I need to go all the way around. I'm going to go to the chin. Right there. And I think it was around the ears too. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this because I know I won't get it right anyway. But after you get those marked, and you don't have to wait till you have them all selected before you do this, but if I do a mesh and edges and choose mark seam, you can still go and mark more seams. Okay, so now I'll choose my face select, choose everything, and do my U and unwrap. Not too bad. So it's kind of like cut the mesh down the middle of the head and like peel the skin off type deal and lay the skin down. Now at this point, you could drop an image on here and then kind of rewrap it around. The idea is then it's rewrapped around the mesh. Does that make sense on the general principle of this?
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably about the best I've done in terms of the Suzanne, but that's only because I looked at the video. It told me where to do the cuts at. Okay. Over in Blackboard, for the week, I put a file out for you to download. So if you want to go ahead and download it.
Yeah, download it.
Oh, do you?
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to close that. I really want to quit. And if you unzip it, you're going to have two files. One's a creepy.png, and then one's the tutorial blend. So I'm going to double click tutorial blend. This is a 3D model he's created, but it doesn't have any textures on it.
Very exciting Blender tutorial. After you've created your brand new great looking 3D
is answering one question.
Model, it's likely going to come out looking pretty naked. Now, I have already talked about how to create and apply simple materials, but I have not yet talked about one of the most fundamental techniques for dressing up your 3D models, and that is how to apply an image texture to it. The challenge here is that your 3D model is...
See, what I'm really wondering is if he created this video of himself, and then in Blender, he has this rotating around. So he put the video as the background, and then has that. I'm curious. I'd be curious how he created that.
Well, three-dimensional. However, image textures are flat. There are only two dimensions. So how do we tell Blender how this 2D image texture is going to fit and stretch over this 3D model? For that, we have to create something called a UV map. This UV map tells Blender which part of your image texture is going to map to which part on the 3D model. The reason this is called a UV map is that every point on your 3D model, every vertex, is assigned an additional two-dimensional coordinate containing a U and V value. These UV coordinates are then laid out on this UV map and therefore mapped to a specific position on this two-dimensional image texture. This then tells Blender how this two-dimensional image texture is going to fit onto this three-dimensional model. The process of creating this UV map is, no surprise, called UV mapping, and you can do it either by UV projection or by unwrapping your three-dimensional model. In this tutorial, I want to show you exactly how that is done so that you are no longer surrounded by your naked 3D models. You're welcome. Welcome to Blender. I have a very simple scene set up here with a little Minecraft creeper, and as you can see, I have no texture applied to this guy at all. Also, if you do want to follow along with this tutorial, you will be able to download this file from our website, so simply hop over to surfacestudio.com/downloads, and you'll be able to download this file, pop it open, and follow along. If you render out the scene by pressing F12 on your keyboard, you can see that I've already...
So over here, if you press on these, you have to push the FN key and then F12. That brings up your render, so you can see that.
You got the lights and the camera set up, but it looks pretty plain, right? Because this little guy has no texture whatsoever. So let's look at how we can fix that. Let's press Escape to return to the 3D view.
Escape takes you out of that, brings you back here.
Come to the bottom left-hand side to set 3D view. So there's three little diagonal lines. Click and drag towards the right to split this view down.
See down here in the bottom left, I'm not sure you can't see it, but there's three lines going at an angle. You click and drag that. That's the same way we've been splitting this window up here.
On the middle, vertically, and then I want to change my left view from the 3D view over to the UV/image editor.
So here you choose the option and choose UV image editor.
And right now, this has the previous render result in it, but we can simply clear that out by coming to the bottom of the UV image editor and pressing on this white little X here.
So click the X down here, gets rid of that render result. And you can use your mouse wheel to scroll in and out.
A really nice and clean empty slate. And you can zoom in and out with the mouse wheels, by the way. Middle mouse click and drag to navigate around. And this is the area where we're going to define our UV layout and where we're going to load in the texture that we actually want to apply to our model. Now, in order to define UVs on any model in your scene, you need to go to edit mode. So make sure you select your creeper. By the way, you can press the period on your numpad to kind of hone in on the little guy. Then press tab to go into edit mode. And
it's interesting. I don't think I've ever used a period. So you have them selected and you push your period on your number pad. Zooms in, I guess, whatever you have selected. It's interesting. And then I'm going to edit, so I'll do a tab. Notice down here, he has some vertex groups chose or created. Mainly because you notice that he was animating it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So.
And on the left-hand side of the 3D view, you will find the tool shelf, which you can show and hide by pressing T on the keyboard. And the third tab
T for transform, I guess.
down from the top is going to be your shading/UV options. And
so here's shading UV, so we can work with some of the tools direct.
let me actually make this UV image editor just a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to drag this over so we can see our 3D view just a little bit better. And in the shading/UV tabs, you will find options to create and manage your UV layout.
Remember the mark scene we used?
Yeah.
And then the unwrap option there. You'll notice the unwrap has arrows next to it. If you do that, that's the same as when you press the U on your keyboard.
Okay.
Now, in order to define UVs on this guy, you may notice that this creeper, let's press Z on our keyboard, actually consists of multiple primitives. So there's multiple cubes, one for the head, one for the neck/body, and one cube for each of these feet. Also, in the middle, you can ignore this, you can see the little skeleton that I've set up to actually animate him. I'm going to show you how to do that in another tutorial. Now, let's press E again to go out of edit mode. Press A twice to select all of the geometry, like all of the vertices, edges, or faces, depending on.
He just indicated that these are separate here.
Yeah.
You can see they're not really even attached if you rotate around. But they don't need to be. That's a part is you think that everything has to be attached. Every vertex, they have to be attached in some way. But it doesn't have to. Okay. So you indicated do A to select everything.
On which mode you're in, of this little creeper.
And catch up, I think he pushed the face mode. Back up just a little bit. 414.
Edit mode, press A twice to select all of the geometry, like all of the vertices, edges, or faces, depending on which mode you're in, of this little creeper. And let's come into the UV mapping options in the shading/UV tab. Let's pop this open, and this gives you a number of different options to generate your UV layouts. For one, the easiest way is to actually do a UV projection. And this is an automatic way to tell Blender to generate your UVs based on a different type of projection. So there's a cube projection, a cylinder projection, and a sphere projection. There's also a smart UV project, which again I might touch in another tutorial. But the way the cube, cylinder, and sphere projections work is essentially imagine that this little creeper was surrounded by a cube-shaped or a sphere-shaped or a cylinder-shaped projector that projects the texture from the outside in onto this model. So, with all of the vertices or edges or faces, doesn't really matter selected, but everything of your geometry selected, let's simply pop open this UV mapping option, and let's simply say to use a cube projection. And this generally does work quite okay for any objects that are kind of cube-shaped, and this creeper is kind of cubish. So let's just go pop this open and select cube projection. Now on the left,
So choose unwrap here, choose cube projection.
left-hand side here, you can now see the UV layout that has been generated. And you can see it kind of extends way past the UV/image editor, and that's not good. And with all of that still selected, simply press S. You can scale this in, but let's just right-click to cancel that operation. Because we've just did the cube projection, down at the bottom in this tool shelf, you'll see the options for set cube projection. You can actually just select to either clip to bounce, which I don't really want to do. I want to scale to bounce. So I just want to.
Does that make sense what he's doing there?
Yeah.
So it's gone beyond this.
Mm-hmm.
Scale to bounds just resizes it so it fits in there better.
Scale that in. So now this is our auto-generated UV layout, and it's actually pretty bad. But in order to see just how bad this is and why this won't work, let's actually get a texture applied to our model using this UV layout. Right now, in our 3D view, we obviously can't see any texture on this guy. You can change the shading mode down here at the bottom from solid over to texture.
So down here, choose the little white ball and choose texture.
But you're still not going to see anything because we haven't loaded the texture into this image editor. Now, you can either open up the image file or you can simply press New. Let's generate a new image.
So over here, you click the New.
Let's call this one color grid underscore text. Leave everything on default, but change this generated type from blank over to color grid. Let's hit OK.
And what do you call that? Color grid. Generate type from blank. He had that change us to color grid. Then I think OK, wasn't it? Yeah.
Let's scroll down on the mouse wheels, zoom back out, and you can see that we've loaded this color grid texture into the UV/image editor, and you can see the UV layout, the geometry of this 3D model flattened out and splayed out over that image. But we still can't see anything in our 3D view, and that is because we're currently using the Cycles rendering engine. If you switch this over to Blender Render and you redo this process, you'll see the texture apply automatically because Blender Render uses a more simplistic material model. I always recommend use the Cycles rendering engine, so let's leave that selected. But we now need to actually apply this texture, this color grid text that we've just generated to our model. In order to do that, over on the right hand side in the properties panel, let's just come to the third last tab, which is this one sphere here, which is the material tab.
Okay, so come over here, choose the materials, the little ball.
Make sure you have the creeper selected. You can also press Tab to return to object mode. Make sure you have the creeper selected and go to the materials tab. Here you can see the default material applied to this model. And if you can't see all of these options and all you have is a little button here that says use nodes, just press that and that will enable the node-based material system of the Cycles rendering engine, and you should see all of these options. And now let's pop open the surface options.
Okay. So over here, he went to object mode, and you see these are options here. And we're going to surface. So I forgot to use nodes he was talking about, right?
Yeah.
What did he say to push? Let me go back.
I had said like something. If it's not selected, then you gotta push this, but since ours was already up, we have to press anything. I don't know, it says something like that.
Let's see.
There's a little button here that says use nodes. Just press that, and that will enable the node-based material.
I think he just said click use nodes, didn't he? Yeah, there it is.
System of the Cycles rendering engine, and you should see all of these options. And now let's pop open the surface options. Count a little bit down. You can see this color property here, which is currently white. That's the base color of our model. over on the right hand side, you'll find this little dot. Let's press that. And in here, I can now decide what I want to assign to the color of this material. And what I want to assign is an image texture because we have already defined it into.
Okay, so choose color, choose a little dot there. We want to choose an image texture. This kind of making sense what it's doing?
Yeah.
Now we're taking it, we like cut it into pieces, put it over here. We've painted it in some form, and now we want to reapply it.
Texture over here on the left hand side. So in the color, click on this little dot. Let's select to apply an image texture. And now I can bring open this little selector here, left side of this open button. And in here, I've got my color grid text, which I've already defined. Let's select that. And
so come over here, choose that color grid, and then you see it applied there. Now this was not applied in a very efficient way. It just kind of just wherever.
now you can see how this texture is applied or wrapped onto our mesh. Let's zoom in just a little bit. Press Tab to return to edit mode. And in order to really understand how this UV layout maps this texture.
Okay, so go to edit.
Onto the mesh with everything selected, and while your cursor is over this UV image editor, you can also use all of the normal controls to select stuff. So let's press A to make sure everything's selected. Press G for grab, let's drag this, and keep an eye on the 3D view. Can you see how where I'm dragging this UV layout is essentially where this texture gets applied onto this mesh. So this is kind of cool, but it's really unorganized, it's really messy, right? So what we can do, and so let's just try this out. Make sure everything of your creeper is selected. Again, press A if it isn't. So all of the geometry is selected. Let's come back into the shading and UVs. And under the UV mapping options, let's pop this open. And let's try the sphere projection instead. And again, remember this.
Okay, so I got everything selected, but if you don't, you do A once or twice, you'll get everything selected. And choose unwrap, and they want us to choose sphere projection. And if you can see it over here, it's really messed up, isn't it? Because it wasn't a sphere.
Yeah.
But as he indicated, you can come over here, you can do an A to select everything. And if you do a G for grab, you can move right around like that.
This is as if your model was placed in the center of a sphere-shaped projector and the image was being projected inwards. So let's select that. And you can see the UV layout is vastly different. It's not improved, it's just different. But before we do anything else, you can either scale this down by pressing S and bringing it in. Let's just right click and cancel that. And again, down in the bottom of the tool shelf, because we just applied a sphere projection. Let's just go scale to bounce. And yeah, it's not really working for anything that has structure, like the texture of a creeper. This won't really work. This is just like a plain concrete texture or grass or something really plain and simple. This simple projection might be enough, but for our purposes, this just won't do. So instead, what we actually need to do, we can't really use any of these projections because they're not going to give us great results. We actually need to unwrap our model. If we select this option now, it won't actually do anything because we haven't really helped Blender in any way to unwrap this mesh. Remember that what we want to essentially do is we want to flatten this three-dimensional model out into the 2D space on this UV image editor, but imagine that this was an origami creeper, and there's just no way that you can flatten this out onto a 2D surface unless you define some cut lines, and that is exactly what we're going to have to do. You may have noticed that under the UV options, under this little drop down here, you have an option to mark a seam or clear a seam. And this is telling Blender, here are some lines where you can cut this model open so that you can then actually flatten it out and create a really nice, clean UV layout. So what I'm going to do, let's press A to unselect everything. Let's go into edge selection mode. Let's select one of the edges.
Okay, so over here you do A to unselect everything. The edge select mode, I'm not sure how he did it, but down here, you see the little button here. There's a cube and then an edge. So you choose that. What that does, it allows you to right click and you can choose edges. Now, I'm probably not going to get this quite the same as him unless I can really spot which one he's choosing. But remember how I showed you cutting the cube up earlier?
Yeah.
That's the idea, is figuring out where to put these cuts at so it'll lay flat. If you do cuts in the wrong place and you try to do a unwrap, sometimes something that should be a rectangular shape doesn't come out as a rectangular shape.
Just on this head here, and just to try it out, you can actually come down here into select and select linked or press Ctrl and L, and that's going to select all of the linked or connected geometries. So it's going to select the entire head of the creeper. And
okay, so I got that selected. I do Control L. I can't remember where he said it was at. And that'll select. Remember, the top cube wasn't even connected to the other ones, was it?
And you'll notice that on the left side in the UV image editor, you only see the UV layout for the parts of the mesh that you have selected. And also note that if I now did a cube projection, that would actually only apply to the head itself, not the rest of the model. So if I now went to cube project, that didn't actually work too badly, right? I've got 5 sides.
So if you do the unwrap and then cube projection. Huh. Is that what it looks like? Does yours look like mine?
Yeah.
Those don't look like squares, do they?
Maybe his is resized differently.
Maybe. Interesting. But here would be an issue again if I'm trying to drop an image on here and these aren't the right shape. You know, that might be a problem.
Yeah.
Projected. So I can actually now come in here and rearrange these. Let's press A to unselect. Right click to select, and I'm right now in vertex selection mode here in this UV image editor, and let me just make this a little bit bigger because there's lots of options down here in the bottom right of this UV image editor. We zoom out a little bit on this side, so we still see our creeper, but we got a bit more management space in this UV image editor. And down here right now, I'm in vertex selection mode. There's also edge selection mode. Again, I'm going to select.
You see these squares right here? Or rectangles, whatever I have.
Yeah.
See, I think I got 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which I should have had 6. Maybe. But anyway, you can choose these by little vertices here. So like right here, I can right click on this. And this is selecting it by vertex. You can also select it by edge.
Which is what we did.
Right.
And what we did.
Now after you select this, like if I have that selected, if I do a G for grab, see how I can move it?
Yeah.
And I can move it to whatever I want. Like I can move it there. I can click this, move it here. And even though it's not a square, I can move it down so it is square shaped. And now see how this side right here, this face here, is all this color here.
Yeah.
Edges of my UV layout. Then there's face selection mode where I can select entire faces. And then there's this island selection mode. And islands is you may have multiple faces connected together, and island select mode will select the entire island. But I can simply select one of these faces or islands that just by themselves right now, press G and move that around. And on the right hand side, you can see I'm moving that face around, so I've now positioned.
That's a much easier way than moving 4 vertices. Moving the 4 vertices to where you want would work the same way, but choosing the face, you can move all 4 at once.
And on my texture in any way I want, go into vertex selection mode, and you'll see something didn't quite work. I've got some additional edges here, and this just hasn't really worked the way we wanted it to. So now let's just do it the manual way. Let me bring this back in, and with all of the geometry of the head still selected, let's simply select to unwrap. Again, it doesn't actually do anything because we haven't defined any scenes yet. Now imagine you have a paper cube and you need to define some cut lines so you can flatten out this cube. Let's press A to unselect everything, and what I want to do is I want to select the edges where I want to place some cuts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this edge, and that edge to kind of create like a flap. Come over to the other side, hold down Shift, select those 3 edges down here. So again, this is going to be another flap. So I'm kind of have 2 flaps and like a round loop. So I'm also going to have to cut that loop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place another cut line, holding down Shift here at the bottom of this face. Good enough.
Okay. That's how where you did the cut set. Even though I just did a cube a little bit ago. Well, there it goes. Okay, so I do an 8, unselect everything. I want to be an edge select. And then I want to choose that side, and that side. Now again, you can do it all at once, but you can go ahead and mark the seams as you go along if you want. And then I'm going to rotate it around over to here and select those corresponding sides on the entire opposite. And then he chose one down here at the bottom. Then we're going to end up marking seams, is what he'll show probably next.
Select to mark seams. Let's press A to unselect. You can see that these edges are now red, indicate.
We saw that earlier. After you choose your mark seam, if you do an 8 unselected, you see them in red. Now, if you got something you don't want, if I select that, you see there's a clear seam. And now if I do that, see how that's unselected?
Yeah.
So it isn't like you got to do it all at once. You can, select that and mark it back. So you can mark it, if you cut it, you unwrap it, and it's like, geez, that didn't look right. You can still tweak it some. So it's not like an all or nothing type of.
That these are actually cut lines. So Blender, when I'm unwrapping this head of this creeper, is allowed to cut those lines, to disconnect them and flatten that out. So let's select one of these edges. Press Ctrl and L. Remember, that's to select linked. That's going to select the entire geometry of the head. Let's come over, select unwrap, and let's select to
Okay, so select one of those. Control L. I'll never remember that. Should. L for linked. Okay. And he wants us to unwrap probably the first one, if I had to guess. First one is the one you usually do when you mark seams.
Unwrap.
Okay, so choose unwrap and choose this first one that says unwrap. Still doesn't come out of squares, does it?
What does yours look like?
It's a little bit off here.
Mine's still the same. So he said to select one of the sides.
Select one of the sides and do a Control L.
Mm-hmm.
And then you choose your unwrap, and then you choose unwrap here.
Yeah, I did that.
It didn't change at all?
Does it mean one of the faces? Do I have to have one? The faces select? No, I got
you have to select all of them.
like only the sides.
You can.
You said he selected one of the bottom ones, right?
Let's see what. Okay, so yeah, if you right click one of those sides, and then do a Control L. There you go. And now do your unwrap.
Just did the same.
Didn't change, did it?
No.
Maybe. Choose the face select.
Face select.
And select one of the faces.
and then unwrap.
Do an A to select everything there. There you go. Okay, and seams aren't marked. See how you don't have any reds? So choose
Mark seam.
Yeah. Well, no, you have to select it first. So choose the side, or I'm going to edge select side, and then
Mark seam.
Mark seam, and then choose
Other side.
other side. See how it said red now?
Do I have to mark the seam again?
Right, mark seam again. Now, what it should look like as you go around.
It's all red.
Right, and to cut a cube, if I come over here, if you look on one side, you'll have the left side, the right side, and the bottom selected. On the exact opposite side, you'll have the left side, the right side, and the bottom. Okay, if I look at the right, okay, left side, right side, bottom. Here, left side, right side, bottom. And then on this side, you just have the bottom.
Okay, so only one side. I need to select the bottom.
Right.
And that is. And mark seam.
And mark seam.
Okay.
And then if you take off your selection, if you do an A, you should see the ones in red.
Okay, and then unwrap.
Yeah, and then you choose your unwrap and choose the first one. Well,
I have to do Control L.
yeah, you have to select the edge and then do a Control L. And now do your unwrap.
It did that, except it's not a T. Like that, it's messed up.
It's probably because you don't have the same seams marked. Don't worry about getting it perfect. See, you can over here. Now that you unwrap this, you can do an R for rotate even. So you could rotate around it however you want. And then do a G for grab. What I have to do is every time I do this, every time I've ever taught this class, I always have to go look to see where do you need to cut a cube at. Because if you don't get the seams in the right place, it does weird things like you're seeing. Does that make sense on the idea behind it though?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll after we finish this video, we'll go over there and just do a simple cube again. I'll show you where the cuts are, and then we'll play with that. Although we'll probably cover about everything we need to in here. Let's see.
And that looks really different. Let's select everything by pressing A. Again, let me just make this editor a little bit smaller.
Oh, his is crooked too.
Now. So these are the individual faces, and I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which are all the 6 sides of the head of this Minecraft creeper. And now I select Island and click. This entire patch is a single connected piece because I've now told Blender enough cut lines to essentially flatten out the cube of his head. So this is now a really neat little UV layout for the head of this Minecraft creeper. Obviously, C7, D7, C8, D8 isn't really the face you'd expect from a Minecraft creeper. So now, instead of using this little color grid, let's get to actually find the actual texture we want. So let's come down to the bottom here, and let's press on this little Open Image tab. And here, I've got a texture. Again, you can download this from the website called creeper.pl.
Down here is the little folder-looking thing. If you mouse over, it says Open Image. And then you choose Creeper. Now notice that this hasn't been updated over here, has it?
PNG. Let's double click this file to bring it open, and this is the texture of the creeper. And again, the head is still kind of this little colored grid, and that's because in our material settings, our image texture is
Oh,
not set
that's
to
right.
the texture. So pop this open and change this over to creeper.
He's over here. If you click the ball, the image texture, if we do the choose here, it's still pointing a color grid, and we want to choose creeper.
I think I might have fixed it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Now the idea behind this is now you can do some changes on this, and you could do it all at once, like he's indicating here. But if I want this changed, I could do a G for grab, move it like that. Oh, I rotated my. What did I rotate that for? Just to show you can do it.
Okay, so what do I need to do after someone fixed it?
Let me see where you're at.
Well, there's just I got kind of the T, but like this one square. That's right here instead of right here.
Okay, choose your
This.
Yeah, that's fine. You can choose your open image. There's a little folder down there on the right hand side, and choose creeper. Yeah, libraries. Now, let's say I was wanting to put that. I'm assuming that's a face. I never have played Minecraft.
Yeah.
But I was wanting to put that face on one of the sides. Now, I could move this all at once. I could do a G for grab like that.
Mine still shows the color grid.
Oh, on that over here, if you click the ball, and then choose this drop down.
Oh yeah, okay. Creeper.
You can choose creeper. Now mine is kind of still messed up.
Yeah, mine's upside down.
Yeah, mine is too. See how when I put that over there, eyeballs are upside down?
Yeah.
You can do an R for rotate. You can rotate this around. Now, where's the face? Face is over here. It's still upside down. Okay, let me think this through. Rotate. There's an easier way than this, but okay, there. If I put that there, it's correct now, isn't it?
Yeah.
More or less. Now, what you can do instead of doing that is over here, you can do face select. And if I choose one of the faces, like this right here, then I just have this square down here. And this is where you could do a G for grab and move this up here.
Oh, you can size it too.
You can size it. You can do grab those vertices. You right click on them and do a G for grab. And then you see the face there. Now, as you right-click each one of these here, you can move these to whatever part you want. You could even put it as the same here. So you can reuse it. So it doesn't matter if they overlap. I'm not sure how he's planning on showing it, but I think that's easiest. Now, if I have this right-clicked here, though, see how big this is? could be that you want this to be the same size. You know, I don't know. That's probably personal preference. Make that about right there. Do a G for grab. The reason why is because if you do have these little squares here, if you have this smaller here, like that, see how those squares are bigger?
Yeah.
So, again, that's probably personal preference. And then you just keep selecting your faces here. And like that. And so on. Does that kind of make sense how to do a unwrap?
Yeah.
What you can do with this is this you can use to create a very basic cube shape of a house, and then you can grab faces on it and you can have it look like the side of a house. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I probably can't do a very good job of it, but I think you've seen enough of Minecraft here. I will put that video out if you want to take a look at it. He does a pretty good job explaining it. Some of the things I forget each time, like I forget to do this ball here and then choose the image texture and choose this. That's like an important part. Okay, so if I do a file new, and I got a cube here. I'm going to go grab a picture of a house. And guess this one's probably as good as any. So I'll save the image as house.jpg. Now if I come back to my cube and I'll split this window, change this to UV image editor. Now you can, again, go through and make the cuts yourself. But if I choose, like he had it somewhere here, didn't he? Oh, edit mode. Then come the shading UVs here. I have these all selected. I can do the unwrap and choose cube projection, because it is a cube, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks like it only got 3 faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably got more than that. If I choose the face select here, if I right click this, there's one. Right click here is one. Right click here is one. They're on top of each other, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm happy with that. Now if I come over here and I want to do an open, and I want to choose a house. I think that's one I just downloaded. So I got the house here. Now if I come over and choose the ball, the material, this right here, I'm going to go into object. This would be pretty bad if I had to go look it up again. No, it's texture, wasn't it? No memory. You don't remember, do you?
What were you trying to do? To try and get the house on the
Right.
circle thing? Let's see.
I can find it fairly fast. After he drops on the image.
And here, I've got a texture. Again, you can download this from the website called creeper.png. Let's double click this file to bring it open, and this is the texture of the creeper. And again, the head is still kind of this little colored grid, and that's because in our
Surface.
settings, our image texture.
I think we don't have color grid.
Well, how could I have forgot it so soon? That's bad. Oh, well, I'd have to watch it again. He's under the ball. He's got a surface where I don't got a surface. So it must have been here at the very beginning. You're right, where you did the color grid. And you must have chosen option. Here's the color grid. Okay.
Grid. Let's hit OK. Let's scroll down on the mouse wheels, zoom back out. And you can see that we've loaded this color grid texture into the UV/image editor, and you can see the UV layout, the geometry of this 3D model flattened out and splayed out over that image. But we still can't see anything in our 3D view, and that is because we're currently using the Cycles rendering engine. If you switch this over to Blender Render and you redo this process, you'll see the texture applied automatically because Blender Render uses a more simplistic material model. I always recommend use the Cycles rendering engine, so let's leave that selected. But we now need to actually apply this texture, this color grid text that we've just generated to our model. In order to do that, over on the right hand side in the properties panel, let's just come to the third last tab, which is this little sphere here, which is the material tab. Obviously, make sure you have the creeper selected. You can also press tab to return to object mode. Make sure you have the creeper selected and go to the materials tab. Here you can see the default material applied to this model. And if you can't see all of these options and all you have is a little button here that says use nodes, just press that and that will enable the node.
Okay. So we don't see that at all, do we?
No.
Okay, so we'll do a new and, like you say, color grid. Color grid. And choose the color grid here. And choose OK. Okay. Edit mode. Got everything selected. Now let me do a new color grid. Okay, that's better. Got that there now. Then he said to go into object mode here. Material. Custom properties. This just doesn't look the same, does it?
Yeah.
That's got me puzzled. We go on cycles render. There it is. It's under cycles render. I thought he said you could be in either one. No, he said to be in cycles render, didn't he?
I never remember changing the cycle window.
No, he didn't, because his was already set up that way to he saved it.
Yeah.
Then use nodes. Okay, that's looking better. Okay, now let's see what he's got set.
Base material system of the cycles rendering engine, and you should see all of these options. And now let's pop open the surface option. Come a little bit down, you can see this color property here, which is currently white. That's the base color of our model. Over on the right hand side, you'll find this little dot. Let's press that. And in here, I can now decide.
Okay, so color, and then choose our image texture. There it is. And then choose our house. And over here, if I choose house, I think, there it is. There's a house. Now if I choose the, go into edit mode, choose the face select. If I choose one of them, now if I do a G for grab, still not showing up there. Well, what else is he choosing?
What I want to assign to the color of this material. And what I want to assign is an image texture, because we have already defined an image texture over here on the left hand side. So in the color, click on this little dot. Let's select to apply an image texture. And now I can bring open this little selector here, left side of this open button. And in here, I've got my color grid text, which I've already defined. Let's select that. And now you can.
See, mine isn't changing. Is yours changing?
No.
Cycles render. Oh, this isn't in texture.
Oh,
Okay, so that's better now. So I'll come over here and I'll choose my house.
yeah. Well, now I have houses on each and every side, so.
Yeah, and see that's fine because when you go into face select here and I select one face, I can come over here and I can have it pointing to a part of the house.
Yeah.
I can resize this, do a G for grab. Let's see, that's UV edge selection. Actually, since I changed that, I can move this. Somebody made a comment in one of the videos that said, and they need to have a few less steps on this to remember all the things you have to do. Now, the idea behind this is you could design something that's cube shaped.
Yeah.
You know, some of these. You then come into UV unwrap and you can map it to those. And then you throw your 3D object in the distance, and it doesn't have to be perfect, does it? Even more than that, you know, you could, if you spend enough time on it, and you'd have to have some pictures of the sides of these, is you could, you know, put that around everything. And then have it look good as a cube. Well, as a house, I should say. Does that make sense on the UV unwrap?
Yeah.
Okay. Key question is if I can actually remember that now. Let me see. Okay, I got my cube. Doesn't matter. I'll forget it by tomorrow, but just see if I can remember in 5 minutes. UV unwrap. Where's UV or UV image editor? Okay, I'm gonna come here, go into edit. Got everything selected. Go to my shading UVs. Choose my unwrap, cube projection. Again, if you cut the cube correct, it's better. They're not on top of each other, but this had to be in cycles render. And then I shouldn't have to do the color grid. He was just demonstrating that.
Yeah.
Let's see, open house like that, and then I come over here. I got this. I go into object mode. I have this selected. Choose my materials, the ball. Use nodes, color, image texture. Choose that. Choose a house, and then so close, so close. There's one other thing. Oh, choose the texture here. There it goes.
Yeah, it's what mine look like.
The what?
Yeah, it's what mine look like.
Yeah. Except for the. That's bizarre.
What?
I wouldn't expected them all to. Because when I like if I choose individual faces, some of them are off on the side.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expected those to have anything. But you see how there's a repeat option here. This is where you can have see cause the image to repeat horizontally and vertically.
Yeah.
Or you can have it extend. Or even clip. Projection, projected around a sphere. So you play a lot of these, it'll change that, where it'll repeat like that. Well, I went the whole time again. So no